2018 with Media Park Live.
Thanks very much. Welcome back to our fourth guest today, Kris van Damme, who's a technical trainer at Panasonic. Kris, first of all, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Chris.
Can I just say what a great name you have?
Like Jean-Claude,
yeah,
from the same country,
but also
Belgium.
the Kris I'm thinking of actually more
Okay.
selfishly. So welcome onto the show. So tell us a bit about Panasonic. I'm more familiar with Panasonic from a consumer device perspective, but you tell us about what Panasonic's involved in today.
Okay, Panasonic is a rather big company based in Japan, Osaka. There is the headquarters. And we mainly make hardware products. That's the core of Panasonic. So, you know, rather a big amount of companies shift to software solutions or whatever, but it's the philosophy of Panasonic to make hardware. That's our core. Okay. Somebody has to make it, Chris.
So you're the engineers behind the software?
Yes. Yeah. Or maybe we hire third parties to create the software that will run into our hardware.
So how important is quality then from you in manufacturing?
Okay. Panasonic is not a marketing-driven company. I mean, our founder, Konosuke Matsushita, who founded the company, by the way, 100 years ago. So now we celebrate 100 years of Panasonic. It was his wish that the company grown, how can I say, on its quality, on its name, and not on the publicity and the marketing. And this is still the philosophy today.
Yeah, and I meant quality in manufacturing. So rather than marketing and communications, so when it comes to the processes and the facilities that you use to make your products, is quality number one?
Quality is number one. Also, making it in the house, make our own core technology, because that's important for survival of a company. If you start to buy in all your core technology, sooner or later, you lose.
Sure, so when you buy a Panasonic device, you know end to end it's been designed, manufactured and built by the same company.
Yes.
Does that introduce other challenges to the company in terms of costs? Because, I mean, everyone's been actually doing the opposite to reduce their costs. So how does that help Panasonic survive?
Okay, it's a good question, but as a company, especially in electronic industry, first of all, you must feel the need of change in the world, and you must be ready to change from product A to B in a rather fast time, so don't stay stuck. I'll give you an example. 20 years ago, we were the third or the fourth mobile phone manufacturer in the world. And now, we simply don't make it anymore. We stopped in time. So, if you design yourself a good product, it costs, you need to make some profit on it. So, if there is a down spiral that you cannot survive in that sector, stop in time. So 20 years ago, we were a big mobile phone company. Now we are the biggest battery manufacturer in the world, by the way.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So Tesla runs on Panasonic batteries and things like that.
Right.
That is what I mean. Stay active, change.
So you've diversified, you've changed course, but remained a provider of quality hardware.
Yes.
Very good. So today you're here to talk about your LSSIEL
solution.
Yes. Yeah. So tell us about LSSIEL. What is that?
Okay. The problem raised when 4K or UHD, if you're talking about television, cameras were requested by the market. So UHD studio cameras, you know, for sports and whatever, they have a lot of glass on the shelf, which is 2/3 inch. You can imagine the big box lenses from Canon or Fuji, 100 times zoom or whatever, who cost a fortune. So, but we said, okay, you want 2/3 inch sensors, but basically making a 2/3 inch 4K sensor, you get extremely small pixels, which are sensitive to cosmic rays, they will be noisy, and the development will be very expensive of it. So I'm not going to say any bad about the competition, but most manufacturers did go that way. But we said, we are not going to do that. finally we do not, because long-term quality of that product is not sure. So after a long discussion, we decided to use a big sensor inside of this camera. But of course, then everybody say, yeah, but big sensor, PL mount or EF mount or whatever mount, we cannot use our glass anymore. Okay. We combined then the big sensor with an internal expansion lens, and then big sensor, expansion lens, other side, 2/3 inch mount.
Okay, and from a timeline perspective, from recognizing the problem in the market to when now your solution, how long did that take Panasonic to go through those different phases of innovation and design?
It took about 2 years to complete. Yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
and is it in use today? Would you see it actively being used in a broadcast event? Like we recently went through the FIFA World Cup. Was that technology in use at that point?
Yes, one of our big customers for this kind of cameras is Media Pro in Spain, and they are all around the world, wherever there is something to do. I'm sorry, I'm a technical engineer, I don't know that details all, but they have several hundred of these cameras already in use.
And can visitors here to IBC come and find out more about LSSIEL? Where could they go to find you?
We have it on our booth.
Okay.
So all our 4K studio cameras use that technology.
So at the Panasonic booth, someone could turn up and say,
Yep.
tell us about LSSIEL,
Yep.
what's important in 4K.
Yep. I forgot one important thing about LSSIEL. It's not only a stable solution, but it's also an economical solution. Because you can, of course, to stay in the business, you can invent whatever you want, but it must always be for a reasonable price. You understand what I mean?
Yeah, price is
So
important.
our 4K studio camera is surprisingly economical in price. That everybody said, wow, how is this possible? And this must be shit. No, it's not shit. Check it.
That's great. And now we're at day 3 here at IBC. So, and have you
Yes.
been here all the time so far?
Yes.
And have you had a chance to look around the show? Have you visited any other, or have you been dedicated to Panasonic?
I'm dedicated to our booth.
You won't allow. We've only just been able to get you off the stand.
Well, it's the first time I come off to do this interview.
So that's brilliant.
Yeah.
So will you get a chance to look around? Are there any other things that you're interested in that you want to get half an hour to find some
Well,
time?
most people do, but I must say I'm a technical engineer and maybe a little bit nerdy, so I mainly stay.
They cater to all interests here. I'm sure there's something here for you.
Yeah, but I did not decide yet, so
Okay.
I'm very sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah.
So, but now looking forward, I mean, how long do you think you'll be working on LSSIEL for? Do you think there'll be the next product you'll be moving on to afterwards?
The interesting
What's
thing
next for
about LSSIEL is that it is also ready for 8K without any problem, because that's for sure. All other manufacturers who design 2/3 inch for 4K, they can not develop 8K the same way, because the pixels will become 1 micron, and that's simply impossible, we think. But we already produce 8K cameras with the same technology. And then, because we can use the same technology, we can make them at a reasonable price.
Very good.
So the future is looking good.
Kris, it's been a pleasure to talk to you. Thank you for telling us about Panasonic and LSSIEL. It's been very interesting. I've just learned something new again, which is great. Thanks for coming on the show.
It's my pleasure. Thank you, Kris.
You're welcome.